Welcome back to another Package With Me video. In my last studio vlog, which I will have clickable here, I answered your most asked shop-related questions, including my advice on selling your art online, promoting yourself, Etsy SEO, packaging supplies, shipping tips, and other related advice. Recently, I put up yet another question box in my Instagram stories, asking which topic or questions you guys would like to hear me answer next. So in this video, I'm going to talk more on my art itself and give you all a little more information on me, my experience as an artist, and some additional advice. Two commonly asked questions that were not answered in my previous video are how I learned to draw, if I took lessons or went to school for art, as well as how I choose what to share online, if I will have any tutorials in the future, and other related questions. So, for those who don't know me, my name is Kat, better known as Rustic Pages across my social media platforms, and I run the shop RusticPagesCo on Etsy. All of my artwork is heavily inspired by the surroundings of my home here in the Blue Ridge Mountains of North Carolina, especially my art studio view and the scenery as it changes through the seasons. As for my background, I fell in love with art at a very early age and began taking lessons in elementary school. I learned from a handful of teachers and found styles that I struggle with and others that I love and wanted to better my skill at. Though I dabbled with many styles, I found realism to be my personal favorite. As for medium, I started out very attached to graphite and colored pencil, and this often surprises many, but I initially learned how to draw upside down. I think this was a really helpful experience and technique to learn because it forces the artist to look at not a face, for instance, but at highlights and shadows and shapes, at the details that make up the picture and exactly where everything is placed, not where you think it should be. The focus is on precision and of replicating exactly how it actually is, which I have found personally that there is a bit of a discrepancy between what you believe something should look and be shaped like and what it actually is. This trained my eye for detail and forced me to look at everything in a whole new light. These lessons were after school, privately held lessons, and though I did take an art class or two in high school, I did not actually go to college for art. I graduated a 4-year university with my bachelor's degree in psychology because I actually thought at the time I was making the smarter decision in going to a 4-year as opposed to going to a specialized art school. I would say in hindsight I regret it, but I really don't because doing what I did led me to where I am today. I still definitely drew and created art for fun in college, but after I graduated, when I had the time again, I really dove back in, and eventually I was introduced to the world of digital art, and much of my work now is this medium. I feel that pencil and digital art very much go hand in hand, and I feel it has given me the tools to enhance my abilities, and I've loved seeing my personal progress within this medium. I do want to add that though I was in classes and lessons for physical art growing up, once I dove into digital art as an adult, what I did learn via that medium was all self-taught. By this time in the digital age, I was able to find an array of tutorials and tips through YouTube. And so through a mix of trial and error myself and the various videos I found online, I was able to really teach myself at least the basics of digital art and grow from there. I know that there is a stigma with digital art where some people feel that digital art is not real art, and I have to completely disagree. Digital art has its own challenges, and yes, it is one of the more forgiving styles because you have the undo button, you have different layers you can work with. Making that the reason is a very slippery slope because pencil is a lot more forgiving than painting because you can erase. So does this make pencil and graphite lesser? I don't think so. I think each medium has its own pros and cons, and I do not agree with putting one on a pedestal above the other. If you are to give a painter a pencil and tell them to create art, it's not going to show their skill in the same way as a trained pencil artist, and vice versa. Digital art is a medium of its own, and a digital artist may not be able to paint to the same extent as a trained painter, but give a painter a tablet and it's going to be also challenging to them, and they are not going to have the same skill as someone who's trained in digital art. And I know this is a bit of a heated topic within the artist community, but I wanted to kind of put my own take out there because I think it's important to respect other people as artists and recognize that their own styles are just as valid. Now, not everyone thrives in every style and medium, so take time to experiment and find what is best for you. One common question I get asked is if I can do a tutorial or a walkthrough, a draw with me sort of video. And though, yes, I may do some casual sketching with you all in the future, I won't be teaching step by step how to create the types of pieces I have up in my shop. Now, I used to film everything I made for a while, and I actually filmed a bit on Twitch where people could watch me live. My Twitch didn't have many viewers, but I did end up reposting a lot of these videos I filmed on YouTube and Instagram. And though I enjoyed making these videos and hearing everyone's feedback, I found that I was being seen more as a teacher than an artist when I went this route. People could sit down and replicate my work, and then some would even sell copies in the same way that I do. And if I wanted to be a teacher and this was my goal, I would be thrilled. But I realized that if I didn't want people doing this, I'd have to stop giving them the directions, the step-by-step on how to. And I don't blame these individuals, as it was really my own doing. I was quite literally teaching people how to create the pieces I create. But this is a long-winded explanation on why I no longer give that kind of behind-the-scenes content. And anything I do end up showing in a more detailed manner like that will be pieces that I don't mind if you guys do replicate and learn from it. I love when people create art, find their own style, expressing themselves through their work, and this is more what I want to promote. And I will absolutely continue doing any sort of teaching and advice on how to create your own shop and get your own artwork out there. And I think it's more fulfilling for everyone involved. Create your own original artwork and get it out into the world. Along the same note, I've learned to really be careful of what I share on the internet and to be protective of my ideas, especially before posting about them. I like to believe most people have good hearts, and many don't do this out of hatred or spite at all. But some will replicate what you are doing. In a way, it's smart to learn from and replicate someone you see as successful in your field. They say mimicry is the biggest form of flattery. But there is a line between learning from and incorporating ideas that made someone successful, which I am all for, and ripping off their actual artwork. So do keep this in mind and ensure that you are creating your own original pieces. And you also want to make sure you aren't going to accidentally cause any sort of drama or strain amongst the artist communities, because word of mouth is huge and you don't want that kind of reputation. I would even recommend doing a bit of research to ensure that an idea you thought of is original and isn't something you saw once hiding in your subconscious, especially in this age of fast media. I have become very wary myself of accidentally doing this and will now go back and check to make sure it's not something I have seen for a few seconds on a TikTok or something along those lines. And when you are ready to move forward with your idea, if you want to truly be the first, keep it to yourself until you are ready to make it available to the public. I don't give teasers anymore in the same way that I don't give behind the scenes content. You don't want someone else to snag your idea before you've had the chance to act upon it, especially if it's really original and you don't see anything else like it out there. Definitely keep it to yourself before you put it out there so that you can truly be the first with your own idea. I'd even expand on this and say to even keep your bigger goals to yourself. For example, wanting to make enough out of your art business to quit your 9-to-5 day job can sound like a fantasy to many, but it is a wonderful goal to work towards, and you should keep that in mind. If there is anything I've learned and would tell my younger self, it's that the idea of the starving artist is a lie. Not that everyone makes it, but that it is very possible, more so than many people realize. A lot of people will fill you with their own doubts that you may not have had before. It may be enough to even discourage you, to make you feel like quitting before you even got started. Instead, I'd recommend telling them after you've done it. And I'm not talking about your closest friends and family who are there encouraging you to pursue your goals and encourage you to be your best self, but about the general public. Work in secret and work hard, and then tell the world once you've done it. And in this way, you can still definitely share your progress as an artist, but maybe keeping that wild end goal to yourself that may seem very out of reach, especially when you're first starting. Protecting my privacy has become more important to me the larger my following has grown on social media. I take my customers' privacy just as seriously. For this reason, you all will never see me attach the labels to these envelopes, and I keep them all face down to ensure that no one's full name and address is shared across the internet. With being a business, I ensure that transactions are done professionally to ensure customers feel safe purchasing from me. I think providing your customers with a feeling of safety is so important. Making sure your customers are happy with their purchase, that it's of the highest quality you can provide, and that they feel good about purchasing from you. I do want to note that being self-employed is a lot of work. It is often romanticized, and there truly are so many positives. But you are going to be constantly working, more so than a 9-to-5. When you own your own business, unless you set maybe a strict schedule for yourself to actually follow, there is no clocking out. And I often find myself working from the moment I wake up straight until it's time to go to bed. But working for myself is so fulfilling. I love working on my personal brand, and I truly want to put my all into ensuring its success. So all of this time spent working doesn't feel like a drag. I'm not working for someone else. I'm working to build up my own business. I think this determination and want and drive is incredibly necessary to being successful as a self-made individual. It is a lot of work, but the work doesn't seem all that bad and is often blurred with my own hobbies. It is my biggest passion, and that right there is why I'm able to make it my life, because I treat it as such. I say all this to say the self-employed life truly isn't for everyone, and so it's something to think about before diving in. If this personality sounded a lot like you, you may thrive doing it. But if you really enjoy your time not thinking about work, about business, about making a living, you may be better suited for another job, and it can still be within, say, the artist field. Working for someone else on projects may be more akin to your own personal fulfillment because you can't put in the time and energy, and that is more than okay. Being self-employed can feel unsteady and unsure. It really is all on your own shoulders, and you have to put in the work. But I believe if you do and are truly willing, you can make it happen. Keep learning, keep sharpening your skill, and evolving as an artist. And regardless the path you take, I wish you all the absolute best of luck in your own goals. Now, if you are here because you are a customer of mine, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for not just purchasing from me, but for taking the time to be on my social media, for watching this video, and thank you all for supporting my passion and spending this day packaging along with me. It has been a dream of mine to get my art out into the world, so thank you all so much for making this dream a reality. Like last time, all of the packaging supplies that I used here will be linked below. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I cannot wait to see you in my next video.